Hi, I'm Donna, an OpenSciEd teacher. Today we're going to be going over lesson 3, which is part of the B.2 unit. In today's video, we'll see how we got here, take a look at the lesson at a glance, see some key moments, and get some management tips and tricks. This is a great lesson because it has a hands-on lab and students are going to investigate how changing environment affects decomposition rates and how it connects to the zombie fires. Let's see how we got here. In lesson 2, we figured out that peat is made from dead plants, has a lot of stored energy, and releases a significant amount of CO2 into the air when burnt. In this lesson, we are wondering, why is there so much peat in the Arctic that has not decomposed? See the lesson at a glance. So this lesson is an investigation. It will take 4 days. Required material preparation says 30 minutes, but I usually give myself another 10 minutes for lab prep. It's a hands-on investigation, does not require student devices, and has no additional related videos. Seeing the lesson at a glance, there are 3 sense-making loops identified. Let's see those in more detail. Sense-making loop 1, which will take place over day 1. The students will be conducting an initial ideas discussion about what decomposition is, get ideas for how to investigate decomposition, and get introduced to a model organism. Students are going to figure out that decomposition is when nutrients from dead plants or animal matter is recycled back to the environment, and that we can use yeast as a model organism, which then leads to, let's carry out an investigation for it, which is sense-making loop 2. In sense-making loop 2, students are going to be planning their decomposition investigation. They're going to carry out the decomposition investigation and have a brief discussion about what questions still remain. Students are going to figure out that decomposition is slower and less matter and energy was transferred to the yeast at colder temperatures. So then how does this connect to the zombie fires? And that's sense-making loop 3. Here, students are going to conduct a building understanding discussion about matter and energy flow. They're going to use molecule cards for that. They're going to have a small group sense-making discussion about the role of oxygen in cellular respiration. And then finally, connect it back to the zombie fire systems and construct their own explanation. Students are going to figure out that cellular respiration and decomposition occur at lower rates at colder temperatures, resulting in more energy and matter left in the peat. So what we figure out in this lesson, energy and matter from plants is returned to the atmosphere by decomposers through the process of cellular respiration. And they're going to figure out that cellular respiration is when oxygen reacts with sugar to release energy, carbon dioxide, and water, very similarly to a combustion reaction. And finally, that in the permafrost and Arctic, cold temperatures and low oxygen levels slow the rate of decomposition and therefore cellular respiration. Let's see the key moments. Starting with part 2, where students will have an initial ideas discussion about decomposition. I always like to start this discussion off asking them what they think decomposition is, where have they seen it, what happens when something gets broken down. I get a lot of really great conversations here that I use continuously throughout this lesson. It's a quick part, but a really important one. We're going to identify what conditions in the zombie fire would prevent plants being able to get broken down and get that class definition of decomposition. Part 4 is going to introduce yeast as a model organism. I always like to have my students share their experience with yeast. A lot of students bring up baking, which I will then reference as we plan our investigation. We discuss how is yeast a decomposer, what do we believe yeast is decomposing, and how do we know that the yeast is decomposing? What do we look for? What do we see? What do we smell? And that we can use the yeast to model decomposition in the zombie fire system. Part 6 is where students will be continuing their plan for the decomposition investigation. In the first section of planning the decomposition investigation, students are identifying their variables. And then in this part, students discuss the investigation setup. What are we going to keep the same? What are we going to change? Temperature. And how can we quantify the decomposition? Some of my students will be challenged with quantifying decomposition and coming up with how we can measure it. I always go back to, again, their experience with yeast, usually with baking. And I ask them, how do we know yeast is working if we're baking? And a lot of them will talk about, oh, we see the dough rise, we see it get bigger. And then I ask them, all right, how can we apply that idea to this lab? And then we as a class determine, oh, we can measure the foam height or how many bubbles the yeast is producing. In part 10, another key moment, the students are going to carry out the decomposition investigation. They're going to figure out that the higher temperature has more energy from the sugar that was transferred to the yeast than at the lower temperatures. And we can see an example data table here in the slide. Part 14 is the building understanding discussion. So now that we've carried out the investigation about decomposition, how does that connect to cellular respiration? Students are going to figure out that since the peat decomposes so slowly, the carbon, the matter, and the energy stays in the peat and does not go into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. So now instead of simply talking about sugar, now we're going to be able to say, all right, what's in sugar? There's carbon in sugar. And that this carbon molecule gets broken down into these other parts. And that we have explained through this the process of cellular respiration. Part 15 is a small group sense-making discussion about what else can affect reaction rate other than temperature. And now that we've made that connection to cellular respiration, a lot of students very quickly are going to start saying, oh, oxygen. Oxygen is also going to affect the rate of decomposition. And then we connect that back to how peat is formed. And I'll ask them, all right, what's the environment that is required for peat to form? And they'll bring back that, oh, that's plants decomposing in water and that there's a lot less oxygen in the water. You can extend learning here by discussing the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Part 18, we're going to go back to our consensus model, and we're going to start adding the additional information that we've learned about decomposition rates, temperature, and cellular respiration. We're going to co-construct our definition of carbon sink. And you can, again, another extension opportunity here. You can extend learning by reading Frozen in Time. Part 20, a very key moment for this lesson. Students are going to be constructing their own explanation for what's happening in the zombie fire system. This lesson has a lot of different pieces. We've learned what decomposition is. We've learned that temperature and oxygen levels affect decomposition. We've learned that decomposition is really organisms, decomposers, going through the process of cellular respiration. And now we're connecting it all back to the zombie fires. Students are going to figure out how the matter and energy in the zombie fire system has been converted, that CO2 and decomposing plants are examples of matter, and that the energy stored in the plant matter can be released during cellular respiration and during fires. So where do we go from here? We figured out that temperature affects the rate of decomposition of peat, and we wonder how all that peat got in the cold Arctic in the first place. Where did all those plants come from? All right, let's see the material management tips and tricks. And I've got a few of them for us. So starting with cellular respiration versus breathing. Just a very quick thing that I usually go over when we first get to those matter cards with cellular respiration is I ask them, is cellular respiration the same as breathing? And we have a discussion about that. If students are with the matter and energy cards really challenged with how do we organize it, I'll ask them, what else have we learned about? And a lot of them will talk about combustion. And I'll ask, okay, what does combustion require? What does a combustion reaction produce? Does that connect to what we see in decomposition? And that really supports students with that sense making. Next, there's some great optional extensions, including the banana lab that is imaged here to look at different environments and how it affects decomposition. You can also look at the structure of glucose versus sucrose. And finally, I love my word banks, especially when we're giving students the opportunity for their own sense making with the constructing explanation part. And the yeast lab setup. So yeast from the grocery store works great and it's much cheaper. I usually make the sugar solution before class begins so that way it makes the lab go more smoothly. And I make a warm water bath for the students to use. And we can all use the same beaker as long as we label the test tubes. The test tubes can also bubble over, and my students find that very exciting. So I'm okay with it happening, and we just work on cleaning up the mess afterwards. Personal glossary management, we're going to co-construct that definition of carbon sink, and we're going to encounter cellular respiration, aerobic and anaerobic respiration. We're going to use the class consensus model poster from previous lessons, and of course, we're going to save that and carry it forward to the next lesson. And that is the end of the lesson. Thank you so much for joining me with this video. Like I said, this lesson has a lot of different parts, but it flows really nicely, and especially ending with that last piece where the students construct their own explanation and they put all their learning together is a really great opportunity. And I hope that you enjoy it and you got this.